welcome to the new branded Motorsport Coaching Podcast to now be the Motorsport Sponsorship Podcast, where we're obviously going to be concentrating all things sponsorships for motorsport athletes going forward. If this is your first time tuning in, hello and a very big welcome and thank you for choosing to tune in today. I am your host, Belinda Risley, founder of Motivate Training and Management. Again, if you're new to Motivate Training and you're not sure exactly who we are or what we are, Motivate Training is an online education platform and coaching business for beginner to amateur motorsport competitors. We've been running since about 1996 in different realms within motorsports, and as mentioned now, specializing specifically on motorsport sponsorship. In saying that, in June, in June, we're launching a brand new motorsport sponsorship club that will officially kick off the 1st of July. So if you're wanting some more specific format, structure, resources, tools, everything to get you more sponsors, to maintain sponsors, to know about activations. Basically, this club has got around 5 stages of getting you from being a beginner right through to a professional business athlete. We're going to have monthly Q&As. We'll have monthly industry experts, not just myself, people from around the world that will be coming in to give you some tips and strategies to improve your sponsorship process. There's also going to have a function around what kind of sponsorships are actually available this month, more around networking, communicating, so community, so you guys can network and find someone that's pretty much on the same journey as you, so you can A, become more accountable for your actions, and B, generally if you're on the same journey as them, you can hopefully bounce some ideas going forward as far as benefits and activations that you can offer our sponsor. So if you're interested, please race down to today's show notes and there'll be the link to the waitlist. Of course, there's a fantastic foundation rate and some special bonuses the early that you start. So Tim, with the new motorsport sponsorship motorsport sponsorship podcast, I'm going to just give you more bite-sized content each and every week, but then we're also going to have case studies from different motorsport athletes from all different categories from all around the world that's going to come on and talk about their experience when it comes to sponsorship. So hopefully that can give you some more ideas and, again, concepts around motorsport sponsorship. So today I'm going to specifically be talking to you guys around about 5 myths of sponsorship. And then we're going to hear from my guest athletes this week, the team from More Motorsports, Jack and Amy. They're basically racing off-road rally here in Australia, but also in the US. So over the last 12 to 18 months, they've had the opportunity to go over to the US and they've been doing a lot of racing there. So they're going to touch base around the differences in sponsorship, how they've been able to gain sponsors over there, basically just how it's differently streamed. I think that was the really important key takeaway that I got from their discussion, but hopefully you'll get some as well. So let's get started with point number 1. So the 5 myths, there are so many, but these are just the top 5 that we've been working on. That basically the myth number 1 I wish to debunk is that sponsorship is only for professional athletes. That is definitely not the case, team. And I know it's very hard, but realistically, when it comes to sponsorship seeking, and again, Jack and Amy will mention that inside of their presentation, that basically for every 300 proposals they sent out, they were getting 1 on return. Again, different markets, different opportunities, but that's a lot of proposals and a lot of connections and definitely a lot of work that goes behind it. And I know it's harder being a beginner to amateur motorsport competitor, but there's definitely sponsors that are interested in. So when you are a beginner to amateur motorsport competitor, there is lots of sponsorship going around locally and within your community. So it is a matter of identifying those opportunities. Maybe it's with your local butcher, maybe it's in the local mall, maybe it's with your local physiotherapist, your local personal trainer. But there is definitely sponsorship available for all motorsport athletes. Again, it comes down to the opportunity that you're going to provide for them. So what is the motorsport marketing opportunity that you're going to provide for them? When it comes to the very first steps of sponsorship, it's really important that you understand who your market is. When I say who is your market, for those that have been following for a long time, motorsport is a business. So you need to have a clear understanding of who watches your category, who competes in your category, what other sponsors sponsor your category, and then start to write all of those things down, as in the names of those organizations. Think about the age groups of the competitors' age groups. If you do have streaming available, if you can get that data from that local streaming, but also that's where you start to utilize your social media platforms and utilizing your insights. We'll do another show on about social media insights and how to work that out and put that information into your proposal. But for now, myth number one is that sponsorship is available for everybody. Myth number two, team, that a lot of beginners think that sponsorship is only for those athletes that have great race results. Well, yes, of course, that does help if you're up on the top of the podium because you're going to have those photos, but that is not necessarily a case. Sponsors of all different sizes, whether small, medium, large, invest in people, that invest in your journey. So it's really important that you have a clear understanding of what is your story. How did you get started? Why did you get started? Why do you want to race? What are your aspirations? You need to develop your 30-second pitch in order to talk to sponsors, in order to talk to prospects. Basically, once you become a motorsport athlete, you become a walking, talking billboard, and that's what I'm laughing about. I did some clips over the Grand Prix, the F1 here in Australia, around about becoming that walking, talking billboard, hence why I'm laughing. So check out the Instagram if you haven't, at motivate_T, about promoting yourself in public. But basically, team, when it comes to debunking that myth about sponsorship is only for race results, you need to have a fantastic brand. Okay, so you need to spend some time developing your brand. And of course, on Motivate, through our blogs, through our podcast, there's loads of free resources that you can tap into to help you start to identify building your brand. And if not, then we also have that paid resource, which is simply $27 a month, called the Driver's Toolkit. And the Driver's Toolkit is for those beginner to amateur competitors that probably just starting out in their journey within the first 2.5 years, that are looking now to start to invest within sponsorship. So again, I'll put the link to the Driver's Toolkit and check that out if that could be a tool that's relevant for you. Myth number three, team, is that sponsorship is just about logo placement. No. This one does my head in, team. Being in the game for so long, so often I get proposals sent through, or I speak to athletes that were just like, oh yes, but my vehicle's too small, or yes, I can put their logo on my trailer and on my shirt, and or my team can wear their merchandise. Yes, that's definitely the case, and yes, that is showing brand awareness, but sponsors need to see and want to see a return on investment. And yes, it is hard when you racing grassroots, and it is hard if you don't have those race results, but there's lots of other things that you can do. More importantly, around about the benefits that you can offer that sponsor. So what are some benefits that you can offer a sponsor outside of logo placement? Think about what kind of hobbies and skill sets that you have. Think about where do you work? What kind of school do you go to? Does mum and dad have a business? Do you have a business? How can you kind of leverage these other people and these other resources to onboard a sponsor, to gain a sponsor? All right. So when it comes to benefits, there are loads of things that you can do, and you need to think outside of motorsports too when it comes to trying to locate sponsors. And we'll go into that more next week about who to locate for sponsors. So make sure you subscribe to the new podcast and check into next week. So the podcast now going to be dropping on Thursdays. So you can listen to them on the way to the track, if not on Friday, when you're sitting there ready to go out for practice. All right. So myth number 3, just to recap, is that you need to think more than just a logo placement as a benefit for when you're wanting to gain sponsorship. All right, team. Myth number 5, that sponsorship is a donation. Unfortunately not, team. Unfortunately, it is a business investment. So again, you need to identify how can you offer this sponsor benefits. What can you do in return for the amount of money they're going to give you? What can you do in return to show them a return on investment? Every category, every person has different skills, has different abilities to show return on investments, to show benefits or to offer benefits. So it's very much up to you to know your skill sets, again, your hobbies, your worth, everything that you can pull in all those resources to how you can showcase it is not a donation. Once you have agreed to have somebody on board, so a sponsor to come on board, you really should have a sponsorship strategy put into place. This includes signing a sponsorship agreement, which is going to simply outline all of the KPIs that you're going to achieve over that year, the key performance indicators. So, for example, how many times a month are you going to post for them? How many times are you going to tag them in the post, or are you going to do their own post? How many times are you going to go and visit them or be available to attend a conference? All of these factors is something that's going to be individual to you, but you need to sit down and work out what can you actually offer the sponsor. And then once you've agreed with it, and then you've got the money, you need to have a sponsorship agreement, and then to actually have a sponsorship strategy put into place for each and every sponsor that you engage with, so that when it comes to the end of that 12-month period, the fantastic thing about having a sponsorship agreement is that you'll actually have a date where you're going to have to engage with them and potentially have that dreaded conversation, especially if you don't like doing sales. But that's a positive of having a sponsorship agreement, is that it allows you to actually say, hey, sponsor, as per our sponsorship agreement, it expires on the 13th of November. When can we catch up to discuss the next steps? And then this team, if you've only had products or services sponsorship from this sponsor previously, is a fantastic opportunity that you can now try and showcase exactly what you've achieved for them over the last 6 or 12 months, and that why they should financially invest with you. So myth number 4 is that sponsorship is not a donation. Okay, it's an investment within you. It's an investment within your team. Once you get that money, you need to show the sponsor what you're going to be doing with that. All right. And last but not least, team, is number 5 myth for today is, again, so often people come and say to me, hey, I'm needing sponsors. Can you help me with the sponsorship proposal? Unfortunately, team, our proposal is pretty much the last process, the last step in securing sponsorship. Generally, a proposal is only required when you have been, speaking to a local manager, like the local sales manager or the regional sales manager, and they've pretty much have said yes, but now maybe my state manager or my higher boss would want to see what it's actually going to entail. So the proposal is basically everything that you've already discussed, not what you want them to do. You've already had those discussions with those sponsors, and the proposal is basically, it's all a few pictures, a few dot points. It's short. It's only like probably no more than 6 pages outlining, we'll go through in another podcast episode what to put exactly into proposal. But in brief, it should just be like an introduction. Again, the marketing opportunity, opportunity for them, the benefits that you can offer them, your cost. And again, we'll do another podcast soon around about working out your cost. Also, it will go through maybe all the rounds that you're competing, maybe the team that you are or the team that you race for, or the team members within your team if you are a family team member. It should definitely identify your values and why you want to work with this sponsor. And then, of course, having a contact page with a specific follow-up date. All right. So myth number 5 is a proposal is all you need to gain sponsorship. No, unfortunately, it's not. What you need to do is research. You need to identify your values, what's important to you. You need to identify how much money you want, what that money is going towards. You need to identify where you're going to be racing specifically for the year. And then you need to identify what kind of businesses you want to work with. There's a lot of steps when it comes to successful sponsorship seeking. But as mentioned, over the next couple of weeks, well, basically, this is our new podcast. We will be talking about each and every one of those steps. Of course, team, if there is a specific topic that you'd like me to touch base, please contact me through any of my socials at MotivateT. On Facebook at motivate_T, on Instagram. Can I just tell you how frustrating it is having 2 handles? That's another social media tip. If you can, as soon as you start racing, try and get the same handles. For me, the man that has at MotivateT, it's not even in existence. And I've contacted him pretty much for 6 years, and it's just a ghost account. Anyway, a little bit of a side story about my handles there. But of course, you can DM or you can email win@motivatetraining.com.au. All of those links will be in the today's show. If you'd love to be a guest and come and talk about your sponsorship journey, there will also be a link in today's show notes. But now for the second half of today's podcast, we're going to be talking to the lovely Jack and Amy from More Motorsports about their exciting journeys from Australia to US and the difference of motorsport sponsorship. I hope you enjoy the second part of today's episode. And until next week, take care. And don't forget to race over, check out that Motorsport Drivers Toolkit, see if that's for you, and register your interest in the Motorsport Sponsorship Club. Welcome to our new episode of Wednesday's Sponsorship. Today, we're going to be chatting to More Motorsports, and the concept of this new live is that every Wednesday I'm going to go live with a motorsport athlete from different categories to talk about their experience when it comes to sponsorship. So I'm just waiting for the guys to jump in. Hey, Ethan. Hey, Patrick. And just whilst we're waiting, just a reminder that if your sponsor has joined, how do you join? Oh, that's it. Okay, cool. Sorry guys, it's all new to me. Instagram, go live. That if you have got sponsors, make sure you have double checked in with them to see if they've got any promos or specials this week for Mother's Day. And of course, they're your number one sponsors, Mummy and Daddy. Hello, guys.
How's it going?
Good, thanks. Well, welcome to the first Wednesday wins of sponsorship for grassroots athletes.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, so let's go from the start. For those who don't know you, can you tell us who you guys are and where are you based and what do you race?
Sure. We are a married couple. We go by our race team name, MOR Motorsport. We race off-road, so we've got a Class 4, which is like a trophy truck, or a lot of people like them to the stadium super trucks that people may have seen racing at supercars. And we race here and in America.
That is so cool. So the American things only happen over the last really 12 to 24 months. So can we talk a little bit about sponsorship and how does it differ, or what have you guys done, in regards to seeking sponsorship for your category?
So for us, honestly, it was by chance that we ended up falling in with Bailey Cole and becoming good friends with him. So that way we were sort of able to join forces and be able to have this amazing opportunity where we are able to race the stock class Bronco over in the States. We actually have, a 4800s Legends car. So this is all rock racing actually. In the States, and then of course, our car here. But as far as the sponsorship stuff goes, it is a little bit different, and I'm not gonna lie, I've been mulling all morning after you asked us about this, like the sort of important things that there are, the key points that I wanted to hit. But one of the biggest ones is that it is very different over there versus over here. Mm-hmm. One of the biggest things is I don't want to say expectations, but for lack of a better word, it's like Australia is still getting used to that sponsorship space, and actually what that means for both the athlete and the provider, if you will, like the actual sponsor, the team partner.
That's what I was going to say. Over in the States, the industry is a lot more established. And so there's a lot more businesses both in and out of the motorsport industry that see sponsorship and also contingency as a huge, very important investment. And so they've also got, you know, their targets that they want to hit, and they know the kind of athletes they're looking for, you know, to align the brand and their goals.
Awesome.
So,
sorry.
No, you go.
I was going to say, obviously you just said that like the expectations are there. So do you feel like the sponsors are more involved, like they know exactly what they're looking for in an athlete because they've previously sponsored athletes before, or you just think the education around about sponsorship for sponsors is very different in the US because there's so many sports and so many people?
Mainly that people know what they're looking for. Like most team partners really know, they understand like the type of person that they want to work with. Because of course we all have different personalities. We're all in different disciplines and we all hit different target audiences and different markets. So generally they know exactly who they're looking for and what sort of traits they're after. Do they want a bad boy? Do they want someone straight up and down the line? Like all those sorts of things come into play.
Or like a crazy Australian couple that has come from like Darwin all the way over now to their
Exactly,
parents.
and to them, of course, we just talk funny.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
And so, like with the category, for those that don't know a lot about it, like you said, it's like rock racing. Tell us a little bit about like the kind of exposure that you get over there for those sponsors to be able to invest with you. So, like, is there streaming? Is it a mainstream sport over there? What's it kind of aligned to what people would know here in Australia?
we do have an Australian Ultra 4 series as well. It is heavily televised now, and that is 100% thanks to the guys at Hammer King and Productions and Dave Cole. They do an incredible job getting that out and providing that service, I guess, to fans that they can go and see it. Because it is true that off-road is still developing. Like it is still has a long way to go to get on the same level as, say, NASCAR or drags or V8 supercars as well. Like it's not something that's televised by Fox. So with the opening of online streaming and like things like we're doing right now, it really has
Starlink as well. So when we're racing, we're in the desert, or you know, we're off on like they're off in the mountains basically around us, and so even us pitting and we're there, like you may only see the cars come by once or twice if you just stay at one spot. And so the streaming, they've been working to have packages on cars now, so they've got their own lives coming off different cars on the track, as well as when they place cameras out and about, maintaining that coverage in those like really remote areas, which is something that is difficult here, as we know, with just being Australia. But that's where there's been a huge leap to better streaming and better like MCs who really know the sport and the athletes, to when they are talking and they're part of the stream, to provide that information to fans and people who are interested to grow that base.
And on that too, like people get to then, because it is a lot of cars, and I think the plans are to have it in every single car, that the person that is watching can actually just go car to car and they can select exactly what they want to watch at what time. So that means it's not, if they don't want to watch number 1 and 2 and 3, they don't have to. They can go and watch the 64th car. Like it is truly incredible what they're doing.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
Definitely. And that will help. So that helps the sponsors see that value right there in that coverage. Every time your car is on the stream or every time you're mentioned, plus then they can start to see people like choosing to watch you when you race, that kind of thing. So it's definitely broadening the horizons for off-road. It's very exciting.
And so now that you're racing majority over in the US, are majority of your sponsors now over there, or have you been able to tag some of your Aussie ones across that are looking to expand in the US? Tell us about your sponsorship journey from Australia to US.
So we haven't unveiled it yet, but we do have a large Australian sponsor that we can't wait to announce. We've definitely got a good mix of a bunch of incredible people that we work with. And yeah, a lot of it, we do, of course, work with Bailey as well. So they get to see benefits of both what Amy and myself are doing, as well as Bailey's race program. So in that way, yeah, to answer your question, it is definitely a mix.
Yeah, and that's something that we actually learned from you over all these years, is that motorsport is a business. And so, you know, it's not just about the logo on the side of a car, on a race suit, or a post. Like, it's about trying to find how we can give that value to our team partners, either connecting them to other business partners of ours, or you know, broadening their market into Australia, that kind of thing. So that's where we've really found our niche in a way.
Yeah, and on that, another very, very smart dude taught us something, which is us providing access.
Yeah.
So being able to provide access to people that have put their time and efforts into somewhere else, become like a business owner. They become very successful and they're very, very good at what they do. And they look back at it and they say, I want to be a part of motorsport. And they say, I want to be a part of off-road. I want to be involved. And that is something that we're more than happy to work with a lot of people on, so that they do get involved and they are able to be a part of the team.
Yeah, so you're giving more behind the scenes access to those actual sponsors or those prospects that are considering working with you guys going forward.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Really important question, Amy. Like you said, niche. Over there, obviously in America, they say it very differently, don't they? They don't call it. They don't say niche, do they? They call it.
I don't know what they would call it.
No.
They call it like niches or something. It's very different. Like every time, like every podcast that I listen to, it's always like the controversial thing: is it niche or niches? But
we found
That's
that we've changed our communication style a bit to suit Americans. So we start to use words like trunk or trash can, or, you know, just all those little ones, and to also just speak a bit slower sometimes, because the Australian accent, you can just see them start to be like getting lost in the message. So
yeah, so we do talk in riddles sometimes.
Yeah.
But
I could imagine how exciting. How do you go like communicating, I guess, with your own team?
pretty good in that way. Like, one of our good like crew from home, Chad, he's learned to speak Australian a lot. So one of the big ones was, we kept saying like, oh, you know, we need a torch, and he would be like, a flame? Like, what do you mean? And that was like, what is it for him? A headlamp or
no, flashlight.
A flashlight.
Yeah.
So now he started to speak Australian a lot better in his mind. So,
and we do a lot of critiquing on his Australian too, but he doesn't.
I guess that's another thing. Like, when you are talking, negotiating sponsorship with prospects over in the US, are you having different languages to what you know and learnt here?
Not so much, because we approach it all the same way. So again, just on that business side of the house and just maintaining our professionalism. And yeah.
Yes, like there's a lot of motorsport athletes that are wanting to go into the US. Have you got any pointers about how to get started? I mean, obviously here we kind of know like the general big companies or the local butcher or medium-sized businesses. We know who works, but obviously in America it's a whole different space. So have you got any tips like for when you first went over there and how you started to engage or even find out who sponsored, how they sponsored, how it even worked or anything like that? Did you have some support from the category, from the team that you're working with, or did you just hit the ground running and found it all on your own?
Our situation was a series of incredibly fortunate events, was how it happened. For someone that is over here that really wants to get into that space, to be honest, the best thing would be saving up or working your way, whether that's on crew or anything like that, to just get over there, get to an event and start networking. Like, getting those contact base up and just talking to people would honestly be one of the best things that you could do. And that's how we started. So we went over there. The Baja 1000 is arguably the mecca of off-road racing. Like, it is truly the pinnacle. People would fight that Dakar would probably be the top, but
we call that Rally Raid, though.
we'll go with Rally Raid. So, but for desert racing, it's definitely Baja. So that's where we decided, yep, we need to go. And of course, the flight, we went into Los Angeles, and then having, again, another excellent team partner over here, that basically opened us into this opportunity. So it was through an Australian team partner, Design Fab Industries, that allowed us to go over to the US, basically gave us that Baja 1000 experience. So then we already started networking. To which then we went to event being King of the Hammers, and then after, I think, 2 weeks of hard work, I ended up getting introduced to Bailey Cole and fell in that way. So definitely. Yeah, truly just the contact base.
And again, just to clarify, like, your networking is like at the actual racetrack.
Correct.
Yeah, because they there's not a huge attendance at races here of all those businesses, but you'll find them all at a lot of those races as vendors, whether it's before the race at like contingency, which is all the safety checking stuff, or other pre-race events. They're all around a lot more because there's the people they sponsor, but then there's also contingency programs that a lot of them run. So that's, if you're using their product and then you put their sticker on the side of the car and then you do well in your class alone, you can win prize money from them. And so some races, it is incredible. And so some races who aren't sponsored can make like $10,000 off contingency alone if they do well at an event.
And I don't know the answer, but I'm just going to say, is there a lot more money over there, like when it comes to sponsorship?
Definitely.
Or there's a lot more athletes that it is quite conduced, I guess?
So to put it in perspective, there's 35 million people in California alone, being 25 million people in Australia, in the entirety of Australia. So it really, I guess... a couple of things that we've learnt along the way too was that if your sport or the discipline that you really want to do isn't within Australia or wherever, you have to move. You have to go wherever. You have to chase it. So
that's what I was going to say about the best advice that I could give is when we went over there for Hammers, we had packed up our life, into storage over here. We put our jobs on hold. Like, we were fully, I guess, committed to whatever opportunity came up over there. And that led us to be able to extend our stay and do our first race and that kind of thing. And it all just kind of builds from there. So that's would be our other advice is like, you may not know exactly the path it's going to follow, but if you've enabled yourself to be able to take hold of any opportunities that come your way, then that's the best you can do, really.
Yeah. Something else we've worked on since, and I think it sort of came about around in 2021, was working off the 300 to 1. So for every 300 proposals that we put out, one would come back and work with us in some way. So whether that was a major sponsor or a major team partner that's taking on the door, or again, that access that someone just wants to be a part of it, tagged in posts, shared, all that sort of things. So yeah, that was the number that we had given. So for every 300 proposals, one would come back and want to work with us in some way.
That's a lot of proposals, guys. But you guys are committed to sponsorship. You spend a lot of time seeking sponsorship. And can you give us some ideas around how much time you actually allocate each week for sponsorship seeking or nurturing relationships?
I think it's borderline a full-time job for Amy now.
Yeah, I would say half my week virtually is spent in that kind of area. Yeah.
So...
really, like, off note now, how many fights we've had since we've packed up everything into the shed and moved across the world. and like pretty much just having each other to support. I mean, that's a big thing as well. It's like when these athletes go overseas, you guys are fortunate that you have each other in the race team together. But how have you gone socially, I guess, like finding your feet, like locations to live somewhere, the people, where to eat?
Yeah. Yeah. Again, just series of fortunate events that both Bailey and Bailey's dad have been able to provide for us, and we've been able to help them out, of course, in kind. So, like I said, our situation, we worked very, very hard to get there, but that's all part of the benefits.
And I think being like multi-skilled and knowing that, not every day is going to be spent racing, like we're apply those other skills so that we're valuable to the people we work with over there, so that then they, the kind of swings and roundabouts all help each other out. And we found a lot of people are quite welcoming and open, so long as they know it's a two-way street and like you're not just there to try and gain all the benefit without, I guess, giving back to them or, something like that. A lot of people have let us stay at their place, come and got us from the airport, that people we'd only met online, and now they're friends in real life and stuff like that. So that's really cool.
And I guess financially from yourself, like we know back in the day when you were racing here full time, it was a lot of you guys putting your hand in your own pocket to pay for yourself to go racing. Have you found like there is a difference now from being overseas?
No. every waking
We're probably still our own biggest sponsors in that way, but just trying to find different ways, again, to create value, to increase what we can give to sponsors, and so then they increase what they would give to us.
Yeah, and every waking cent goes into cars or racing. Like, we don't have a kitty, or like a superannuation fund or anything like that. It is here, it is now. Every waking cent goes into what we're doing and the present. So with that comes a lot of sacrifice, and
And I guess on that note, Jack, like, is there a final note that you just go, this is it, we've had enough, we can't do it anymore financially, or you're ready to settle down in one spot, or it's just like, that's it, that's our goal, we're just going to keep on going until we can no longer race?
Quitting has never crossed my mind. Like, I might vocalize it. I might vocalize it every now and then. If something's not going right on the car or something like that, I might say that I'm done, I'm gonna quit. But truly, like, deep down I don't see a finish line, if you will. Like, there is, this is it. This is what we're doing, and there's no left or right of that.
I love it. All right, guys, well, thank you for your time this afternoon. But if there's any other wisdom that you'd love to share with us, I'd love to hear.
I guess.
Ethan's just written, Oscar Piastri's path required $6.5 million AUD. That's right, Ethan. It's a lot of money to go F1.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, I think even V8 Supercars, it's like a $3 million buy-in per team per year. Like, straight away. That doesn't provide car, your driver, crew, like anything.
Yeah, that's just to get in. So I don't know if there's any other lasting wisdom. It's just, if it really is your dream, then you'll keep going, basically, because a lot of our friends, they've seen us develop over the years, and they think, there's plenty of times that we would have given up by now, but they've seen us push through and where it's gotten us now, so they're stoked we never gave up along the way.
Yeah, I definitely think you guys going to the US has been the best thing for your racing life, which has been fantastic. So congrats on, like you said, taking that jump and that leap and actually going over there. And it's great to hear that the sponsorship is same but different when it comes to your off-road racing.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much.
Yes, Jack, that's it. Nothing else, Jack?
That's...
I know he's always got something else to say.
I know, that's right.
All right. Well, we've got One Source Customs there saying you guys are legends. Flight's taking off. We love being a team partner. So well done to everybody.
I noticed Dennis from Bullies Off Road commented before, and he's another one of our team partners that we've worked with for a couple of years now, and we're very appreciative of both.
Yeah.
So for guys who haven't already connected with Moores Motorsport, please race over and follow their journey between the US and Australia with off-road racing.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Hopefully we finish big this year.
Cool.
I wasn't going to jinx you, but yes. Good luck for that. It's coming up very soon. What date is that?
That's the
Like
probably
8th of
8th
June.
of June, I
that
think.
weekend,
Yeah.
Yep, a couple more weeks. All right, guys, all the very best for
Thank
Fifth, and we
you.
look forward to chatting to you soon.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. See ya.
Bye.